Hello, fourth graders. This is Miss K, and we are on episode 8 of our Eureka unit. And today we're going to talk about why we invent, and we're going to identify challenges that help us come up with inventions. So, before we start, we're going to watch a video.
Why we invent? What an absurd question. We invent because we see a problem in the world that needs to be solved. Like people not being able to light their homes. A pretty big problem if you ask me. Why else would anyone invent?
I will say only one thing.
It will be the day the pigs fly when you say only one thing.
Ah, Hetty, you know me so well. You must be in love.
I am absolutely 100% not in love with you.
If you say so. So, I did not invent with the objective of solving a problem in the world. I invented for more personal reasons. I created the scuba because I wanted to spend more and more time with the great love of my life.
Jack, please cut this out now. It's enough.
The ocean.
Oh.
At a certain point, I wanted to be able to go deeper into the ocean and to stay there longer. And so, with a friend, I made something that would allow me to do so. And happily, my invention helps the world too. What can I say? I am just that good. For instance, if a ship filled with treasure were to sink and you wanted to try to retrieve that treasure, you'd need to be able to stay underwater for quite a long time.
But how many people does that help? I mean, sure, maybe a few people get rich from finding lost treasure. Maybe a few people get to enjoy the wonders of the undersea world. But is that practical? Does it save lives?
It can.
Does it help the masses?
Like the light bulb.
Like my many ideas about ways to use the peanut, the pecan, the sweet potato, and the soybean. I saw that Southern farmers needed to make a better living. A problem, and so I came up with a solution. More and different uses for their crops. According to the internet, I figured out ways to make adhesives, axle grease, bleach, buttermilk, chili sauce, ink, instant coffee, mayonnaise, paper, plastic, pavement, shaving cream, shoe polish, talcum powder, and wood stain. Wow, the internet really is thorough.
I must say, George, you made a lot of use of those crops.
But you can't compare scuba gear and mayonnaise.
I can compare anything to the light bulb and find the light bulb superior every time.
Anyway, it's not a competition, Hetty.
Of course it is. It's
Eureka,
Student Inventor!
All right, so these are the ways that we come up with an invention. First, we identify the problem, and then we invent a solution to that problem. So in the video, they were talking about the problems they had that led them to their invention. Jacques wanted to scuba more. He wanted to be able to stay underwater more. So he invented something that would let him do that. So your first question is, how do we define invention? What does invention mean? And then based on that video, where did our judges find their inspiration for their inventions? What helped them create their invention? Number 3, what skills from the Wheel of Invention do you think we can use to identify a problem to solve with your invention? So which do you think is going to be important in coming up with a problem and then finding a solution that we can invent to help it? So is research important, collaboration, or failure? So pick the one that you think is most important and tell me how that's going to help us solve this problem we're going to come up with. All right, so that's your reading. We're going to hop over to skills. So it says, now we will answer some questions to help us come up with a problem we can solve. So that we're going to start to think about a problem that we have or that someone else might have that we can invent a solution to. So number 1 asks, when is a time you were frustrated recently? So this might be something in school, something at home, but if you're frustrated, then that's certainly a problem that can be fixed with an invention. So think of a time that you were frustrated. What is something that you find boring that you wish, sorry, I'll change that. That's supposed to be wish someone would do for you. So if you hate doing a chore, if you hate doing something every day and you think it's boring, maybe your invention can do that job for you. Number 4, what is a problem that you would tell the mayor, the president, the principal about? So this is a good way to think about a problem we have in our community and how you can fix it with your invention. Now that we've brainstormed, you're going to pick a problem that you are going to solve with a new invention. The problem should meet this criteria. So a lot of people should deal with this problem. If it's something that only a certain amount of people deal with, it might not be a popular invention. You want it to be an interesting problem so that the invention is interesting. You got to ask yourself, is it a big problem or a small problem? You might want to focus on those bigger problems to solve the inventions, to solve the problem with your invention. And then, of course, this is the most important one. Can you invent something to solve it? Because if you can't, then you need to pick a different problem. All right, so choose which problem you're going to solve. Why did you choose that problem? And then we have a little note from George Washington Carver. He says, inventing is fun, but inventing is also hard work. Sometimes you have more ideas than you can write down. This note is not about those times. This is for those days when you are stuck. We all have had those days. All 200 uses for the peanut did not come to me in a burst of lightning inspiration from on high. Neither did all 100+ ways to use a sweet potato. I know that it can be very scary to be brainstorming and find yourself out of ideas. When you are stuck, think back to round 1. So again, he just said, this is not easy. This is a difficult thing to think of. So really be creative. Think back to the different skills we have learned and come up with a solution to your problem. So what materials will you need? We won't actually be building this, so feel free to think outside the box. And then how is your invention going to work? How is it going to work to solve that problem? All right, we have one more video, and this is going to help you think about those problems and how to solve them. Right here.
Bonjour, it's me, Jacques Cousteau, your favorite judge. What can I say? I am very likable. Recently, I took that likability to the streets. And guess what? Today is your lucky day, because I will share with you the fruits of my labor. Here is a video that we made when I, Jacques Cousteau, asked the real people on the street about what they felt needs to be fixed in the world. And by listening to them, we will all get ideas for new inventions. Let's roll that tape, yes?
Bonjour, madame. Would you mind very much if I asked you a few very simple questions about the whole world and your place in it and where you see it all going in the future?
It would help if you narrowed your questions a little bit.
Fine. I suppose I am most curious about problems you experience in your life, in the world. Problems in your home, in your place of work, in your neighborhood, in your community.
Actually, that was still a lot of questions.
Really?
Yeah.
Fine. Are there any problems in your life, your daily life, that you would love if someone solved?
Can I say people bothering me on the street?
No.
Well, if I had to, I guess I'd say when I'm in bed and I'm really tired, and then I realize I forgot to brush my teeth and I have to get up and go brush them, I should be able to brush my teeth in my bed without lifting a finger.
So she just gave us a problem. Her problem is that she hates it when she gets all in bed ready to go to sleep and she forgets she has to brush her teeth. So that would be her problem. We would try to come up with an invention that could fix that problem. Let's keep watching.
You would say that, wouldn't you?
Was that a bad answer?
Well, it has nothing to do with the ocean.
Was it supposed to?
We're going to move on.
Yeah, Mom.
Excuse me, sir. Excusez-moi, sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just my mom. Sorry.
Very good, sir. I'm wondering, perhaps you could tell me what problem at your place of work might be solved with a new invention?
Maybe if there was a watch that would beep a few minutes before your meeting to remind you that you had a meeting, so you'd never be late to any meetings.
I'm fairly certain that exists already, but let's say the problem you've identified is being late to meetings at work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that one, he came up with a problem. His problem was that he's late to meetings. However, his solution was already something that is invented. So make sure that when you're inventing a solution to your problem, it's something new, something that we don't already have.
Yeah, Mom.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Excusez-moi, madame.
Yes,
You look like someone who thinks about her community and the problems it might be facing.
I am someone who thinks about my community and the problems it might be facing.
What are some of those problems? Name one.
Well, for one, it's a problem that in the morning, the early mornings, the electric company will start drilling the streets. It's very loud and it wakes people up.
How terrible.
Oh, and it's another problem that when I buy a banana and walk around with it all day, it's mushy by the time I want to eat it. It was just fine this morning.
And I'm being told that is all we have time for, yes? Okay, yes, we are out of time.
All right, so there were a few examples of some problems you can choose and how to invent a solution to fix that problem. This is a tricky lesson today, guys. You really need to use your creative side of your brain, but I have faith that you can do it. If you need any help, hop on Zoom and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, Adams.